there's nothing we can do about it. I can just send my feedback, and I hope they fix it for the next semester. So, but anyway, I guarantee you that that I will check it for you, because of course it's not fair that you get less points because they didn't do a proper development of this thing. Okay, so today we're gonna continue with the circulatory system, as I said. Um, I want to start with a small game, in fact, just to see how much you know. It's another game, but it's just to introduction of the class, let's say. Um, so there we go. We have some questions. I'm gonna click play, and then we have to answer the right things. Okay. They use a little bit different names here. We're not gonna know it all, but it doesn't matter. The idea is just that, yeah, that we have more or less everything. Okay. So the pulmonary artery, where do you think that is, Emilio?
In the
So this is
in the right part
this is
of the
the right
lung.
side. Okay, the right side and
Yeah,
the left side. Is it on the left or the right side?
the right, because it's
Okay.
in the artery.
And it's the one that where it goes down or the one that goes up?
Sorry, the left one. The left one.
Yeah, yeah, but I mean, we always talk in the patient's name. So
Okay.
this side, I don't know, you can see my mouse, maybe I can make annotations, yes. So look, no, dibujar. So this is in fact, it's very thick. This is the, no, it's not writing, gosh, maybe text. So this is the right side, okay?
Okay.
Because we look at the patient's right side. So this would be the left side if you take the perspective of the patient. So what would be the pulmonary artery? We don't care about the time.
Okay. Okay. In the right side,
This,
in the right part of the heart.
okay, this one. Okay. Oliver, what is the left ventricle? Are you there, Oliver? So we have here four things that can be left ventricle. Which one is it?
My teacher.
Which of the 4 points is the left ventricle?
Oh, the like the how say
Left.
like the left ventricle is the one in there that is the right, but the down right.
Oh, this one you say. Tell me just left up or bottom, or right up or bottom. So this is right, this is left. So which one is it?
Left bottom.
Okay, very good. Pulmonary vein. Rafael, which one is it? On the left side, on the right side?
The what? The pulmonary vein?
Pulmonary vein, yes.
I would say on the right side?
No.
On the left side then.
Yeah, the left side. Think about the veins. They always go from the organs to the heart. So in fact, there is only two veins here. This one and this one, okay? Because they go through the heart. This one is leaving from the heart and this one is leaving from the heart. They're arteries. So what would be the pulmonary vein? Pulmonary refers to
the lungs.
Okay, so which one do you think it is? This one or this one?
The one on the left side.
Okay, well done. Adam, right ventricle. Tell me right up or down, left up or down.
Right down.
Okay, right down, correct. The cava. Cava, they refer to vena cava, okay? What is the vena cava? So it's a vein. I'm gonna ask Vanessa, vena cava, which one would that be?
Um,
On the right, on the left? Do you think this is the vena cava or this one is it? Because the other ones we already have in green. Do you think it's this one or do you think it's this?
I think it's the
Blue or red?
right one.
Okay, correct. The lungs, very simple. Ivan, where are the lungs?
The one on the left.
Okay. Yeah, okay. It could be both, so it's this one.
Yeah.
The left atrium, Seju, where's the left Soju or Seju? Soju, what's the left atrium?
The left, the upper thing.
Okay, well done. Arterial blood, where is the arterial blood? For Gustavo.
Arterial blood is in the
So is this yeah, where do you think it would be? This one, this one, this one?
It would have to be bottom right.
No, this would be blood in the veins because it's blue. Arterial blood is always red, so it could be this one or this one. I think this refers to the aorta, so I would take this one. Okay. Capillaries, Santiago. What are the capillaries?
Could it be the left lung? The lung on the left?
You're right, but I don't think they refer to that. There is definitely capillaries in the lungs, but I think here they refer more to...
Like the very bottom ones?
Yeah, exactly. I think this is what we call the capillary bed because it's like a representation of all the capillaries in the organs and stuff. So now you can tell me what are the pulmonary capillary?
Well, that's the one that I said before.
Exactly. Good.
All right.
Black blood. So black blood is in fact a term to refer to the blood that is completely deoxygenized. Okay, it has no oxygen anymore. Leonela, where do you think that the black blood would be? So in which part the blood has no oxygen anymore? Nothing at all. It's completely empty of oxygen, almost completely saturated with carbon dioxide. Where would I put it, black blood?
In the left?
Yes, well done, dear. This is here, when the blood goes back to the heart, it's completely depleted of all oxygen. So, Daniela, the right atrium, where would that be? Only one left?
It's the top right.
Okay, well done, dear. And then the last one for Ana Pau, who is the aorta.
It's the one in the left. That one.
Perfect. Okay, you did fine. I mean, we just had it was a bit confusing here, but basically that's what we're going to see today, guys. This is our heart. You know, we have the 4 chambers and we have 2 circulations. So we have the circulation that goes here from the right ventricle through the pulmonary artery to the lungs, and then it goes through the pulmonary vein to the left atria. This is what we call the pulmonary circulation, okay? And then here on the bottom, we call that systemic circulation. It is here from the left ventricle that the aorta is leaving. You don't see it because it goes in the back, you know, it goes in the back here, in the back, it's behind. The aorta is leaving. It goes to all the organs, all the organs, all the muscles. And then it goes with the vena cava superior on the top, and inferior, it goes back to the right atria of the heart. Okay, so that's the 2 circulations we have. The small circulation is definitely the one of the lungs. And the interesting thing is that keep that in mind, that is the opposite, okay? The lungs is the only artery that is carrying deoxygenated blood, because the lung is basically the oxygenation machine. So here the pulmonary vein is the only one that carries oxygenated blood. The pulmonary artery is the only one that carries deoxygenated blood, okay? All the rest of the arteries, this is very simplified, but we have many arteries. All of the rest of the arteries, they carry oxygenated blood. Okay, so let's go to our presentation. So the questions about this, I think it's not, I mean, yeah, I should not conclude, but I think it's okay. Any questions?
No.
So, like I said, we have the systemic, the systemic circulation, the pulmonary circulation, and the hepatic portal circulation, okay? The systemic circuit, like I said, is what I just said, okay? The aorta, it goes down, it goes to all the organs, and it goes back, okay? And then the pulmonary circulation is the smaller one right here. You also see this is a little bit more complete. You see that the systemic circulation also goes to the head, arms, and the head and the brain and stuff, you know? So the systemic circuit is way bigger than the pulmonary circuit, because the pulmonary circuit is just only this, okay? So that's here the pulmonary circuit. Then, guys, the hepatic portal system, you can see it a little bit as a part of the systemic circuit. But what we're talking about, look at this image here. This is the hepatic portal circuit, okay? So here you have the artery arriving to the small intestines. Something special happens here, because this is the part where the blood receives nutrients. In the lungs, the blood receives oxygen. Here, the blood receives nutrients, okay? In the small intestine, the digestive tract, where absorption is happening. But you see here, there is something special. The blood doesn't go back to the heart immediately. Here you have a special organ that detoxifies, in fact, the blood that comes from the digestive tract. And this part here, the part from the digestive tract to the liver, this is what we call the hepatic portal system, okay? Because in fact, there is like one more station before going back. It's an exception, because all the other organs go in, go out. Blood goes in and goes out, goes in and goes out. And here not. The digestive tract has like two organs, the small intestine and the liver. And of course, that logic, because the liver is making this purification plant for the blood when it comes from the digestive tract. And if you look at this image, you can also see that this is very smart of Mother Nature, because you see that when it passes the liver, it goes through the heart. So this is really nice, because then the heart is sure that it only gets clean blood without toxins and nicely filtered and stuff, because it goes from the liver straight to the heart. So that's how you're sure that you're not going to disease your heart, okay? But you have to take care of your liver, of course, because if you don't, then all the toxins and all the fats goes to your heart, which we will see in the circulatory system disorders, okay? So this is what I just explained, So here you can see it a little bit different in a more basic scheme. So here you see what happens. The stomach and the intestine, nutrients, it's in the reverse, of course. Here is the artery and here is the vein. So here the nutrients go from the stomach and the small intestine into the blood. It goes from the hepatic portal system, or the hepatic portal vein is what we call this. It goes to the liver, and here we're gonna detoxify, purify before it goes to the heart, okay? Very simple. It's like a two-stage station, and that's what we call the hepatic portal system, okay? If we look at our brain, is also something interesting. Our brain is very important, and in fact, you can see here what we call the circuit of Willis, the circle of Willis, or the circuit of Willis, and it's basically what protects our brain. If something happens in this circle, blood can still go the other way. It's like a kind of safety mechanism to assure that our brain will always be provided from oxygen. So for instance, something happens here, no problem. The blood can go the other way around and your brain is still okay. It's the only way, the only place where we have this safety thing. The only problem is, for instance, if you have a blood clot right here, for instance, yeah, then of course, then this part of the brain gets damaged, and that's what we call, how do we call that? If you get a blood clot in the brain.
Derrame cerebral.
Yes, in
A
English.
seizure. Oh, stroke, pardon,
A
stroke.
stroke, yeah, it's a stroke. So a stroke is basically when there is a lack of oxygen in a part of the brain because there is a blood clot here or there or here, not in the circuit of Willis because it can still move around the other way around. But if it happens somewhere here, you get like a certain zone of the brain that the cells die off and you get a stroke. And you get this stroke because of smoking, because of eating a lot of saturated fats, or because of certain medicines that you have blood clot forming in the brain. Very dangerous. That's why it's a good idea for older people to take now and then aspirin.
Teacher.
Yes, dear.
But like, can't strokes happen like anywhere in your body?
Yeah, but then we don't call it strokes. If they happen somewhere else in the body, we're going to see how we call it. But if it's in the brain, it's a stroke. If it's somewhere else in the body, it's a part. Depends where it happens. It can happen in the coronary arteries. It can happen, well, in the arm or in the leg. It's not that common because, I mean, if it would happen there, then it would have already happened in the brain or in the heart. The thing is, why are the brain and the heart the most easily affected? It's because the arteries of those places, they are thinner. So that's the easiest place where you can get this clogging. So if it happens in the brain, you call it stroke. If it happens in the coronary arteries of the heart, you get a heart attack. Okay, but it's possible that it happens in other places of the body. However, it's less likely because the tubes are bigger, you know, it's like bigger arteries. Okay, a little word about blood. We have seen already many functions of the blood, you know, it's like transporting oxygen, it's removing waste products, it's transporting nutrients, it's transporting carbon dioxide. It's like I said before, it's so complex that we cannot make it artificially yet. So our blood is made of 45% of cells. Those cells are red blood cells, white blood cells, and platelets, okay? And the plasma, which has basically the nutrients, the proteins, the certain salts and stuff. So that's.
I don't think you're sharing.
I'm not sharing. Okay, sorry. So here is the blood. Plasma is nutrients, proteins, other elements of the blood, and the formed elements is like the cells, white blood cells, red blood cells, and blood plasma. Okay, blood platelets. Okay. So you have to know that it's about 55% plasma and 45% cells. So what do people do when they take, if they do doping in sports? What you do is basically get special hormones that's basically doping. And those hormones, they will produce more red blood cells. And if you have more red blood cells, you can transport more oxygen so you can perform better. But of course, the risk is that the 45% becomes 50% or 55%, and the risk of blood clots and strokes and heart attacks becomes really big because bigger because the blood becomes more viscous. So it's a little bit dangerous, okay? About the red blood cells, you already know that they're made in the red bone marrow, okay? A little bit also in the spleen, and it brings the oxygens to the cell. What does contain the other 55%? Well, it's mainly water, some proteins, some salt, some gases, a little bit of oxygen, a little bit of carbon dioxide. However, this oxygen is not of a lot of use. Nutrients, all of that, okay? So plasma, it's something really important because it's a very complex liquid with a lot of substances in it. You don't have to know all the details of the plasma. I will not ask you that. You just have to know more or less what it contains, okay? White blood cells, you also don't have to know all the white blood cells because we have a lot. We have seen that already in the immune system. The white blood cells, They fight bacteria and viruses. They're very complex cells and are the only cells, you know that the red blood cells, they don't have a nucleus, so they do not contain DNA. White blood cells, they do contain DNA, okay? So there is a process, there is another part of cells in it, which we call platelets, okay? Platelets are different kind of cells. They don't transport oxygen or anything, but they're involved in blood coagulation. Coagulation, it means that the blood can get hard and it's involved in the reparation of damage. You know that if you cut yourself, that you can heal. And this healing process is another very important function of the blood. And it's our platelets that have a very big function in this healing, okay? It's not only the platelets, there is a lot of factors involved. You don't have to know that. There's proteins involved, vitamins. It's a very complex process. So we are not going to study that into detail because it's very, very complex how that works. I remember in university that we had to study it. And just the coagulation process, if you want to write that down, if you get in an exam question, because that's how it is in university in Belgium, you get one question or two questions, and that's the whole exam. But every question gives you an answer of 2 to 5 pages. Seriously, it's you have to do everything, write it down, and then you have to go to the professor and you have to defend your response orally. That's how the exams are done in university in Europe. So it's very tiring because they give you like 2-3 hours to write down everything you know about those questions, and then you're called, and if you're ready or not, it doesn't matter. If you're not ready, it's not the biggest is not the biggest deal in the world, but the professor will call you, it's your turn, and then you have to defend what you wrote down. And the thing is that he doesn't look, or she doesn't look at what you wrote, because that will be checked later. This person will look, what else do you know and how deep is your understanding? So they go very much outside the question to see how much you know more about the subjects on the site. In the beginning, I was always very stressed, but in the end, I really like this kind of exams because you really understand if a person understands what they have studied or not, or they just studied by heart or not. Okay, like I said, blood is a very, very complex tissue. Okay, it's very, very complex with many, many functions. So we have 4 types of blood. Okay, you know that, you have heard of that. And this is important, guys. You know, everybody knows that you have blood group A, B, or O, okay? But what does that mean? Is the A, the letter you have, it refers to a kind of protein you have on the surface of your red blood cells, okay? Like you can see here. So this A blood group, like I'm A, for instance, I'm A positive. So I have this protein that looks a little bit rectangular and blue on the surface of my cells. If you have blood group B, you have, for instance, this green protein that is a bit more triangular. If you have AB, you have both. But if you have O, you don't have any protein, okay? It's very important because in the classroom, we cannot do it now either. Maybe we can if we go back to campus one day. But I think it's very important to know your blood group. Who knows their blood group, or maybe who doesn't know their blood group in this group?
I know mine. I'm O positive.
I know mine too.
Yeah, O positive is the most common. B is something you would see a little bit more in Asia. And A is a bit more European thing, but in general, always is the most common. You have also the rhesus factor. They call it rhesus factor because that makes you positive or negative. It has nothing to do with AB or O. It's just another protein that you have, which we call the rhesus protein. If you have it, you're positive. If you don't have it, you're negative. Okay, and they call it rhesus because there is a monkey where they discovered it, and that's basically it. It's something you have to take into account a little bit extra because any rhesus positive person can give to any rhesus positive person because this person also has the protein, but not to a rhesus negative person. However, if you're a rhesus negative person, it doesn't matter. You can give your blood to everybody, okay? important to understand why. Okay, because our blood, like we just said, has A, B, and O. So the A, the B, and the AB, they have proteins on the surface. But at the same time, our blood has antibodies against it, against the other one. So if my case, I'm A positive, okay? I have a blood cell with A proteins on it, okay? But at the same time, in my plasma, I have anti-B antibodies, okay? So that means that these antibodies that I have in my blood, they will fight the proteins on the surface of B, and they will fight the proteins on the surface of AB, because anti-B fights protein B, okay? So that means, in my case, I'm blood group A, I cannot give blood to B or to AB, because I will not only give my blood, I will also give these antibodies, and these antibodies, they will attack the cells of the person that I will give my blood to. So if I'm A, because of my anti-B, I can only give to blood group O and myself, and A, of course, okay? That's why blood group O is in fact the universal receiver. Blood group O can only receive from itself, and can only receive from itself. Blood group O cannot give to AB because they have antibodies against this blood group, okay? Blood group O cannot give to B because these antibodies, they will attack these proteins right here. These ones, these antibodies will attack these proteins. Anti-B will attack blood group A. So that means O can only receive from O, okay? The difference is blood group AB. There is no antibodies, so they can receive from everybody, okay? No problem, because there is no antibodies, they can receive from anybody, okay? Is that clear? We can see it so I think I made a mistake. Blood group O can give to everybody because they don't have proteins, and blood group AB can receive from can give to every. I'm confused myself. Blood group O can donate to everybody. Why? Because there is no proteins on the surface. Okay, that's why we call it universal donor. Okay, blood group AB can receive from everybody because they don't have any antibodies. Okay, that's the reason. I think I mixed up in the beginning a little bit. Okay. I give you a table right here. So this is basically the table that I'm talking about. If you're AB, you are the universal donor. You can give to everybody. If you're blood group O, you can receive from everybody. Okay, that's a little bit the rule. If you're O negative, at least. Okay, is that clear about that giving and that taking?
Yes.
Okay. A little word about agglutination. Agglutination is exactly what happens if you mix different kinds of bloods. So this is healthy cells, and this is agglutination. Agglutination is basically the antibodies that will destroy the red blood cells. So imagine that I'm blood group B, and I will give my blood to blood group O, the anti-B, so I'm person B, and I will give my blood to a person to A. So let's say that I get blood from a person with B blood, then my antibodies will destroy those cells, okay, that I get. And that's agglutination, okay? So like you could see here, that's basically what happens. Mixing incompatible blood types causes agglutination. It's a reaction where the blood cells collect into clumps, causing the blood to stop circulation. And that's basically the reason why you die, because the antibodies, they start attacking, they start destroying, they start to clot together, and you get blood. You get like a immune shock. And if you do a wrong blood transfusion, it's usually very, very bad news for the patient. Okay, there's very little you can do. Here, there's another thing as well with the rhesus factor. Sometimes there is a problem, and they did not know why certain moms, they died when they give the second time birth to a rhesus positive baby is because if you girls think about that, if you're negative, okay, that's why it's important, especially if you're a girl. If you're a negative girl, okay, rhesus negative, doesn't matter which blood group you have, but if you're negative, then you're at risk when you're going to have babies, okay? Because if you're imagine that you're negative and your husband is going to be positive, then you have a 50% chance that your baby is going to be positive. In the case the baby is positive and you're born, you give birth to the first baby, there is no problem because the blood mixes and there is a reaction. But when you give birth to the second baby, you will have developed antibodies against the positive rhesus factor, and that's very dangerous because then you will get rejection from your own baby when you give birth, when the blood mixes, and this could be very dangerous for the mother. Okay, it's a little bit do you understand that? It's a little bit complex maybe to understand already this.
Yeah, we do understand it.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah.
Okay, so tomorrow we're going to have a look at the diseases. I'm just going to stop the presentation right now. I want to end the day with a small video about atherosclerosis as an introduction for tomorrow, because I think it's important that you understand atherosclerosis, because basically this is happening. Atherosclerosis has a lot of secondary diseases as a consequence, so that's why I would like to see this video before we go to the diseases tomorrow. Also tomorrow I'm going to have a look if I find the exercise about those blood types. I should have something to start our lesson with that, because it's the easiest if we do an exercise about it to see if you understand that properly, because it will definitely be in the action question that you understand who can give blood to who and why, you know, that you understand a little bit what happens and why certain persons in order to give blood are not compatible. Okay, so let's finish the day with this video.
Cardiovascular disease, or CVD, refers to a variety of problems with the heart or blood vessels, including heart attacks, heart failure, and stroke. Together, they are the #1 cause of death globally, estimated at nearly 18 million deaths in 2015 and rising. Initial symptoms such as unexplained chest pains or exhaustion after only moderate physical exertion are frequently ignored, and thus many patients are only treated after suffering a heart attack or stroke. The aim of the EU-funded project CISVASC was to use a systems medicine approach to better understand the development of CVD and to find so-called biomarkers for it. Researchers hope that by using a comprehensive collection of clinical and experimental data to generate computer models of the disease, they could identify novel molecular targets suitable for early disease prediction. In many cases, cardiovascular disease is caused by the chronic inflammatory condition atherosclerosis. Due to unhealthy eating habits and a lack of exercise, deposits of fat, cholesterol, and other substances present in the blood build up over many years inside the arteries. White blood cells are attracted, triggering an inflammatory process. Over time, the resulting plaques cause the arteries to narrow and harden, obstructing blood flow. However, not all patients appear to have stable plaques, which build up and eventually limit blood flow. Some patients suffer from unstable plaques, which pose an additional threat. Unstable plaques are prone to sudden rupture, which causes local blood clotting and may even completely block vessels. If this happens in the coronary artery, the heart may become starved of oxygen, resulting in the death of cardiac muscle cells and heart attack. Physical exercise and a healthy diet prevent all forms of CVD, while drinking and smoking are risk factors. As atherosclerosis progresses, patients are increasingly exhausted after physical exertion, while severe cases cannot participate in everyday activities, like walking uphill. Currently, clinicians do not fully understand why CVD progresses faster in some patients than in others. We know from studying tissue that unstable plaques have a thin fibrous cap over a large lipid core, while stable plaques have thick fibrous caps that prevent premature rupture. Modern therapeutic options are available for patients with CVD to reduce the risk of plaque progression or rupture. But how can we identify the patients who would benefit from such a treatment? Diseased arteries and plaques release molecules into the bloodstream. The CISFASC consortium set out to understand how CVD develops and to identify new targets for therapeutic intervention. Therefore, the CISFASC consortium used methods such as mass spectrometry to analyze large numbers of blood and tissue samples from patients at different stages of cardiovascular disease to uncover their molecular composition. CISFASC researchers have employed sophisticated methods to identify new biomarkers which correlate with the severity of vascular damage. While this work is still ongoing, substantial progress has already been made towards identifying molecular targets, and a specialized cardiovascular disease knowledge base is available to support this research. Promising candidates are being tested for their impact on disease progression as we speak. Using the telltale molecules that we hope to find, clinicians in the future will be able to identify patients with unstable plaques. This would allow these patients to receive preventative therapy to interfere with the catastrophic and currently unpredictable events leading to stroke and heart attack.
Hello, guys. Before we go, can you please tell me if you want to have atherosclerosis, what do you have to eat?
If we want to have, or if we don't want to
No,
have.
imagine you want to have atherosclerosis. I mean, I should reverse the question to say it properly. Like, what are the kind of foods that causes atherosclerosis?
Fast foods.
Okay, very good.
Ice,
Especially what?
like high in fat.
Yeah, high in fat. And what kind of fat, Ana Sofia?
France.
Sorry?
No, processed fats, sorry.
Yes, saturated fats. And so to give some examples, if you want to have a lot of saturated fats, you have to eat frozen hamburgers. You have to eat processed food like papitas, chips. You have to eat a lot of galletas, like cookies. You have to eat everything that contains a lot of palm oil, like Nutella and a lot of sweet stuff. Also, you have to eat a lot of fat meat, like arrachera, like all kind of chicharron. Chicharron is the best to get atherosclerosis. In fact, it's just fried fat. Yeah, animal fat, in fact, and if it's processed animal fat, it's even worse. If you talk about these frozen hamburgers, that if you cook them, that all the juice comes out, and tacos with a lot of animal fat in it, especially cerdo, marrano, and pig. This kind of animals is really, really bad for us. And it's the first thing that causes these kind of problems. And of course, we eat a lot of it. Okay, guys. So take care. We see each other tomorrow. Okay.
Thank you, teacher.
Bye, mister.
Bye, mister. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye, teacher.
You, Mr.
Bye, sir.
Teacher,
Yes.
I have a question for you.
Go ahead.
So we're doing this event in FETEC next, I think it's next Friday, yeah. And it's gonna be a 100 borregos dijeron, which is like 100 mexicanos dijeron practically, but with like cultural academic questions for students. And we were looking for teachers who were able to, well, if you want to, like to give points, extra points to the students who participate and win in this event.
Okay, can you send me?
Of course, we will.
Can you send me an email or something to check what else is there?
Okay, I'll send you an email.
No, because I have to decide which ones are the correct ones. You know, I have to know what it's about in order to participate with this. But usually, I am interested to help for the good cause. Let's say.
Okay, teacher. Well, I'll send you an email.